What's up, Marvel fans? Welcome to E equals MCU. We got another news story that broke earlier this week that I wanted to go over. So I just wanted to read from the article and kind of maybe speculate on what that means and who the character actually is, because they're kind of hinting at it, but the scoopers have not totally revealed which character it will be. So without further ado, let's get into this article. Now, this was first reported by Daniel RPK on Twitter, and then the Direct did a article on it by Russ Milheim shortly after that. So I'm going to read from that article and then kind of go into speculation on what this could mean and everything that's going on. So, without further ado, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer dropped, and it's driving people mad with excitement. The film promises to give an insane multiverse-driven adventure, bringing back villains from the past franchises as maybe some other Spidey people too. The movie would not be possible without Doctor Strange, who after all is the one responsible for messing up the fabric of reality himself. It's only fitting then that his next outing is called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Joining him in the next adventure is Wanda Maximoff, the powerful Scarlet Witch fans watched evolve thanks to her own WandaVision TV show. Where does she fit into the film though? It's not known for sure, but something just came to light that suggests she will at the very least have one hell of a standout scene. Well, if a certain scooper is correct, then Wanda may have a fight sequence which rivals even that of Doctor Strange versus Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. And it may even be a returning X-Men or Fantastic Four member that she's fighting. According to Daniel Rickman, someone well known for his insider information, things are about to get crazy in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In reply to a Twitter user who was praising Doctor Strange versus Thanos scene in Avengers Infinity War, Rickman replied saying that Wanda will be locked in combat with someone from the Foxverse. Now you say Wanda Maximoff versus who? Now before we get into that, he hinted at this on Twitter, and there was actually an exchange. He hinted at a lot of things. Now, the fact that he says a Foxverse character doesn't necessarily mean it's an X-Men character. It could also be one of the Fantastic Four members. And you got to remember, they are a little bit further along in development than the actual X-Men team or movie is. So just keep that in mind. Now, the article goes on and says that it's a tantalizing tease for sure, but the number of potential candidates isn't a short list. The first person that comes to mind is Magneto, who would not only make for an incredible action scene, but with a fun background, as the two were originally father and daughter in the comics. And let's not forget, in WandaVision, she had that sweet Magneto-esque scene with the drone when she came outside of the hex and through the drone. So that would be kind of cool to see them face off. Now, the list goes on and on, especially when it comes to X-Men. There's Cyclops, Jean Grey as the Phoenix, Polaris, which is her sister, Wolverine, Rogue. It's certainly a hard thing to narrow down. There's always the chance that Marvel Studios will even make Oscar Isaac's worst nightmare a reality by throwing him back into the Apocalypse makeup for one last hurrah, which I hope they don't do personally. The X-Men aren't the only group of characters that could be pulled from, as there are Fantastic Four as well. Looking back though, there really aren't any interpretations of those characters which would be all that fun to go up against, not to mention their introduction to the MCU is more imminent than the mutants, so Marvel is likely holding off on crossovers when it comes to them, and I agree with that, because I think they're getting rebooted from the ground up. Now, just knowing that one of these many matchups is possible makes the wait for March 22nd of next year even harder. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness can't get here soon enough. And that is the end of the article. And to kind of add on what they're saying there, I that's the reason why I don't believe that it'll be a Fantastic Four member. I mean, they are further along, but when you're talking about multiverse, if you're recasting those 4 actors, it's likely not to be one of them, because they will have no they won't have any history of being those characters, so it doesn't really do anything for you. I mean, it'd be just her fighting the Fantastic Four in our universe, essentially. So I don't think they're bringing back any of. Well, there were rumors that Chris Evans was coming back as the Human Torch, so maybe they're off on that. And I just thought about that, but and it was rumored for that movie he could come back because he's supposed to be coming back as Hydra Cap. Anyways, that movie has a lot going on in it. Me personally, my favorite, and who I think they're hinting at, is probably Charles Xavier. Wanda's history in the comics with the X-Men is very tied. Her and Quicksilver, very tied to the X-Men. And I have another video I'm going to make on the return of Quicksilver in this movie as well. But I do think that it will probably be Charles Xavier. Now, whether or not they use Wanda to actually kick off the X-Men and really introduce them to the MCU, it might be what they're thinking here. I don't know. But I think Charles Xavier or Magneto would probably be the best bet. Seeing her fight against the Phoenix would be cool, but then kind of suck at the same time, because they're essentially doing the same thing with those characters. So, that's kind of a toss-up. But I do think that they are bringing back Sophie Turner as Jean Grey for the MCU X-Men. It kind of looks, if you look at what Feige has been doing, and the breadcrumbs are there if you really pay attention to it, he's kind of picking and choosing what he liked from the other universes and what he's going to use to tie into the multiverse. And then from there, once he ties it into the multiverse and we get done with this phase, going forward, those will probably be your actors. Sophie Turner is young enough to where she could really helm and be a part of the X-Men team going forward, and maybe retell the stories the way they want to tell the stories. I don't know about the young man that played Cyclops, however. He just Ty Sheridan. He didn't really come off Cyclops or Scott Summers enough for me. So I would like to see them recast him, but it does look like they'll probably pick and choose who they want to recast. So there's always a chance that they could come back. I do have a video on Ralph Bohner and Evan Peters playing Quicksilver. I do think that's going to be, I don't want to say corrected, but I think it's going to be further explained, and as to how he ties into the Multiverse of Madness, because I think that is where he will be appearing next, and I have evidence to prove that. Video on the way. And it looks like they're going to pick and choose who they want. So if I was a betting man, knowing that they first went to the original Patrick Stewart, they went to the original Charles Xavier, and he already came out and said this last year that they approached him, and he said no, he didn't want to do it. Now, what he could be lying to throw you off the scent, and he could come back. But if I had to guess, it'll probably be the other Charles Xavier, and it'll probably be Michael Fassbender as Magneto. And if I don't know what those guys are doing, how they feel about doing comic book movies or whatever their preference is, but if you were to get those two back as Xavier and Magneto, and then a couple characters here and there, I mean, see, one thing people haven't been talking about was the Jennifer Lawrence rumor that she was in Australia shooting something. It had to be something for Thor, because that's what was shooting at the time in Australia. But they were doing the pre-production for Captain Marvel 2, the Marvels. I still maintain that maybe they bring her back because of the star power, but just if they do, I just hope it's not as Mystique. I did not like her as Mystique. I think she would make a much better Rogue than she would Mystique. My opinion, though. But let me know how hype. There's so much speculation and stuff that we could go over on all of this. Just let me. I want to know how you guys feel about it. Are you hyped for Multiverse of Madness? Do you think it's going to be delayed? Spider-Man going to be delayed? One thing that they did touch on here is that basically Spider-Man No Way Home is going to focus on the Sony characters in the multiverse, and then Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness would focus on the Fox universe characters. So I can see that happening. That makes sense to me. And then it's all tied in together, and then basically you get everything that was ever Marvel pretty much canon by way of the multiverse. So anyway, let me know how you guys feel about that down in the description, the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter. I am on Twitter as E equals MCU, so you can let me know on Twitter as well. And until next time.